ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within the material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saha Gana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunatha Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhara, Srivasa, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Angum Langayate Girim Yatkrapatamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Tamam Shri Chaitanya. Okay, so let's do some small quiz. And this is later verses of chapter 1. You can put your answers in the chat. Okay. So the first question is, it's a very easy question. Okay, it's a multiple choice. What did Arjuna see that made him feel weak and distressed? A. His enemies looking strong. B. The large number of soldiers. C. The weapon of the Kauravas. D. His own family members in the opposing army. Wow. Yeah, it's D. Right. Um, what was the first physical symptom Arjuna experienced due to his sorrow? A. His hair stood on end. Okay. The question is first physical symptom Arjuna experienced due to his sorrow. So, first option A is his hair stood on end. B. He felt thirsty. C. His legs became paralyzed. D. He started trembling. Uh, his first physical symptom, yes, many are right. The answer is A. If you look in the things first, he says that my hair stood on end. I mean, he's not able to speak. That's the first symptom. Okay. This question is specific to the verse number 32. Which name does Arjuna use for Krishna in verse 1.32? A. Madhava, B. Govinda, C. Janardana, D. Vasudeva. 1.32. Yes. Let me see. Yeah, it's Govinda. Yes, Govinda. Right. Okay. Mm, Next question. Why does Arjuna hesitate to fight? And again, four answers. A. He fears losing the battle. B. He is afraid of Bhishma and Drona. C. He does not want to kill his own relatives. D. He thinks the Pandavas are weaker. Yeah, almost. Yes, everyone is right in this. He does not want to kill his own relatives. Okay. Um, Next question. What is Arjuna's concern about destroying family traditions? Okay, about destroying family traditions. A, it will lead to defeat in war. B, the women of the family will become polluted. C, his brothers will take revenge. D, the kingdom will be lost. Yes, many of you, all of you are right. Almost whoever has answered now is B. The women of the family will become polluted. Okay. In the last verse, that is 1.46, what does Arjuna prefer rather than fighting? A, to go to the forest. B, to be killed unarmed on the battlefield. C, to fight only against Karna. D, to surrender to Bhishma. Yes, the answer is B, to be killed unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Okay. Mm, okay, true or false? Okay. Krishna placed the chariot between the two armies. Yeah, it's a very easy question. True, right. Okay, second, Arjuna was eager to fight the battle and defeat the Kauravas. False. Yeah, false. Okay. Third, Arjuna saw his teachers, grandfathers, uncles, and brothers in the enemy army. True. Right. Okay, true. Uh, Arjuna argued that by killing family members, dharma, religion would decline. True. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. It was a simple quiz, but at least it's a warm up quiz to make us ready for what is there in the second chapter. I'm super impressed that all of you did a very good job. It was amazing. Okay, so uh, we will go to chapter 2. We are going to take turns and do the translations. And in important shlokas, we can stop and do the shlokas as well. That is for memorization. And one more thing, the next week, someone can volunteer to do the introductory prayer shlokas that I did. So in this way, we can take turns. Those who know the shlokas already, you can do that. The prayers once that's in the beginning of the introduction. And so in that way, the others can also learn, and eventually everyone can take turns doing that. Okay, chapter 2, I see. Srinath Prabhuji, okay. You can do first 5 verses.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Text 1. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy. O son of Pruta, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise. O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna said, O killer of the enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring a worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, Sanjaya is starting the chapter 2, telling that Arjuna was full of compassion. Arjuna's mind is depressed and eyes full of tears. And Krishna is addressed here as Madhusudana. Anybody knows what's the meaning of Madhusudana? You can put it in the chat. Okay, yes, killer of Madhu. Yes. So, why this particular name here? Because Arjuna had doubts. Okay, he is not sure what to do. Okay, so he wanted Krishna to basically kill these demons of doubts. And compassion, Arjuna was compassionate on what? Not killing the opposite party. That is the his soldiers, his relatives and friends. So that is good. I mean, it's better than not having compassion, but that's not the ultimate. It is like a person is drowning. Okay, somebody jumps in to save the drowning person, and somehow he swims up to that person. He wanted to save the person, and then he comes back to the bank, and what he's holding is the dress of the person. So then the one who's in the bank is asking, "What have you done?" "No, I have saved the dress of the person." No, that's not real compassion, right? Real compassion is for the self. Okay, but compassion for only the material circumstances, only seeing the material circumstances of the people and then being compassionate, is like compassion for the dress of the drowning man, and only that. So that's why in this chapter, Krishna is instructing us on self realization. So here, you see, text 2, this is the first place where Krishna is introduced. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha. Okay, and what is he asking? Kutastva kashmalam idam. Kashmalam is dirtiness. Okay, the auto drivers in Chennai use this word in a very bad terms. If you go, if they are not able to go through, even though honking, they use this. At least they are reciting one verse from Bhagavad Gita. But kashmalam means dirtiness. So, after all these arguments of Arjuna, Krishna is calling, where did these dirtiness or impurities come upon you? I'm surprised, Arjuna, how you can talk like this. So, it is not Krishna Uvacha. Okay, it's not Paramatma Uvacha. It's not even Brahman Uvacha. Okay, why it is Sri Bhagavan Uvacha? So, because there are three concepts of the absolute truth. This shloka is in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 11. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the absolute truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Brahmeti, Paramatma, Paramatmeti, and Bhagavan, Bhagavan iti Shabditi. So, what's the difference? So, Prabhupada is using the example of the sun. These three divine aspects can be explained by the example of the sun, which also has three different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun's surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student. One who understands the sun's surface is further advanced. One who can enter into the sun planet is the highest. Okay, there are three things. When we open the window, then we say, oh, the sun, there is a good sun and the sun is coming in my room. But actually, is the sun coming? No, it's a sunshine, right? Actually, the sun comes, then, there's no room and no us. Everybody will be burnt. So, one person who studies only the sunshine, he's on one level. Okay. The other person who goes to the sun disk, the origin of the sunshine, he is on the next further advanced level. But a person who can enter into the sun planet, first of all, sun is a planet. Okay, that's something new for us who have used to seeing sun as a ball of gas. But here we understand from the Vedic literature, sun is a sun planet. So when a person enters a sun planet, then he has a absolute idea of what's happening, right? The person who is in the sunshine has a distant idea of the sun. The person who is able to study only the sun disk has a little bit close idea of the sun, but a person who has entered into it has the fullest complete idea, right? So that's what he's explaining. Ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sunshine, its universal pervasiveness, right? Sunshine is universally pervasive. and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. Brahman means who is universally pervasive and is full of made of light, Brahma Jyoti. The student who has advanced still further can know the sun disk, which is compared to knowledge of the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. Paramatma means the super soul who is present in everyone's heart. And the student who can enter into the heart of the sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal features of the supreme absolute truth. So that's why Krishna is called not as Brahma Uvacha, not as Paramatma Uvacha, but as Bhagavan Uvacha. Because Brahman and Paramatma are originating from Bhagavan feature. Therefore, the Bhaktas or the transcendentalists who have realized the Bhagavan feature of the absolute truth are the topmost transcendentalists, although all students who are engaged in the study of the absolute truth are engaged in the same subject matter. The sunshine, sun disk, and inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from one another, and yet the students of the three different phases, are not in the same category. Why? Because one knows preliminary things, another knows a little advanced, another knows for the third person who's Bhakta. That means what? The Supreme Lord Bhagavan means he is a personality. We are all made like man is made after the image of God. So he is a personality. He is a supreme form, and uh, that doesn't stop him from being all pervasive and as Brahman, and also being able to be present as Paramatma in everyone's heart. Just because he is universally all pervasive, and just because he is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma, it is not that he ceases to exist as a personality. That is the main point here, right? That is the Bhagavan feature. And one other point in this purport is that the Sanskrit word Bhagavan is explained by the great authority Parashara Muni, the father of Vyasadeva, the supreme personality who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation is called Bhagavan. So if you have a book, it's better like we can underline these things so that we can know that these are the points that we have to remember. There are many persons who are very rich, very powerful, very beautiful, very famous, very learned, and very much detached. But no one can claim that he possesses all riches, all strength, etc. entirely. Only Krishna can claim this because he is a supreme personality of Godhead. No living entity, including Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Narayana, can possess opulences as fully as Krishna. And that is why, therefore, it is concluded in the Brahma Samhita by Lord Brahma himself that Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. No one is equal to or above him. He is a primeval Lord or Bhagavan, known as Govinda, and is the supreme cause of all causes. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is a supreme because none can excel him. He is a supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. That is Sat, Chit, and Ananda. He is a primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karanam. So since Sri Bhagavan Uvacha is there, he is explaining this, that why Vyasadeva wrote Krishna as Bhagavan. So what Bhagavan is saying, that how these impurities have come upon you, and then Prita. Prita is another name of Kunti Devi, right? So Partha is a son of Prita. And who is Kunti Devi? The sister of Vasudeva. who's the father of Krishna. So Kunti Devi is Krishna's aunt, and Arjuna is Krishna's aunt's son. So you are my aunt's son, okay, and uh, you are a Kshatriya, but don't yield to this weakness of heart. Imagine what the Lord is calling Arjuna's magnanimity as. Arjuna was no doubt magnanimous, and he was also having compassionate towards the killer, towards the those who tried to kill them, the sons of Dhritarashtra, and the opposite soldiers also. But Krishna is calling such magnanimity as weakness of heart. And he's telling, if you would abandon this battle, then it would be you would be committing as an infamous act, and you will will be known in the history that you have committed this, and you are my cousin. Don't misuse my presence. Like there is the Olympic coaches, even if we see this national basketball NBA season comes, and even if the players are not very much into it, the coach is so much affected if the players are losing, right? If that particular team is losing, then the coach becomes, everybody will ask, how come they can lose with such a coach? So Krishna is telling, I am there, and in front of me, if you're going to do this, then what will they? You are misusing my friendship, and that can't happen. Before God, how can you become depressed like this? He's all bliss, right? So he was kind of chastising Arjuna and sarcastically as a friend, but telling him nice pointers. Immediately Arjuna asked, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? Okay, they are standing on the other side, ready to fight for this land. And what should I do as a student? Should I not give up this land? Will anyone fight with their own guru and the grandfather for a piece of land? And indirectly he asked, Krishna, would you fight with your grandfather Ugrasena or your guru Sandipani Muni? Nowadays, there is no question of no. There is only fights everywhere within families. I mean, this is not nowadays. So they have some rules, some code of conduct, right? So he's like, impossible for me to do this, to kill people like Bhishma and Drona. And finally, he says that it's 100% I'm ready to die than live at the cost of great souls, because I have to kill them if I have to live. If I have to win the battle, then I have to kill them. Uh, in fact, it is mentioned that neither Bhishma nor Arjuna, when they came face to face, they were able to fight in their fullest potential. And Krishna knew this. Krishna was later, Krishna would tell Arjuna, no, this is not proper. Fight with full, vigor. But Arjuna is saying at that time, I remember I remember playing as a child, thinking that he's my father. Because Pandu was dead, right? So I had remembered him, taking him to be my father, uh, playing with him. So those are the memories Arjuna was getting. So neither Arjuna was fighting with full potential nor Bhishma. But ultimately, at one point they had to, the 10th day. So, yeah, so he said that everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood, and I'm not going to do that. Okay, let's see. This takes 6 to 10. Mega Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Text 6. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the son of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Text 7. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of my misery weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for the certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Text 8. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drawing up my senses. I will not able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unveiled kingdom on the earth with sovereignty like a demigod in the heavens. Text 9. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemy, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Text 10. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following word to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Thank
Hmm.
you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here we see Arjuna is telling, how can we live in the absence of the sons of Dhritarashtra? That means he had no, his heart was completely, he wasn't even thinking that they had given me so much trouble. Let them die. Now is the time to kill them. No. But he was thinking that how can I live? So that means he had no enmity in his heart at all. So he was being completely controlling his mind and senses, uh, and he was thinking beyond himself. He was selfless. And so he says that I shouldn't kill them, but they are now standing before us on the battlefield. That means they've all dressed up and come. Like we have all dressed up and come to do a drama. At that point of time, the main character in the drama is saying whether should I do it or not. No, they have all dressed up and come to do the drama. There's no question of going back. At least a drama you can cancel and give back the ticket, but that it's not here like that. So then he understood one thing, that what he sees saying is this verse. Okay, Yashita, can you raise hand if you want to recite? Can you recite this? Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes. कार्पण्यदोषोपहत स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयः स्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So there's a shloka class, I think, right? On Fridays, 6 to 6:30. The last week they learned this shloka. So those who can come, please join that as well so that we can learn at least one or two shlokas a day. Okay, so Karpanya dosha, Karpanya of miserliness, and that is my weakness. So what is this miserly weakness he's talking about? So he's telling this, now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So, Krishna said that your miserly, your weakness of the heart, now Arjuna is accepting that. Yes. Why? Because he could understand that his main problem was that he wanted to save his friends and family members more than doing his duty, right? So he could understand that that was his problem. You see here. Being intelligent, Arjuna could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were the cause of his perplexities. Although he could understand that his duty to fight was awaiting him, still on account of miserly weakness, he could not discharge the duties. He is therefore asking Lord Krishna, the Supreme Spiritual Master, to make a definite solution. So this is the main thing. Why Karpanya? Because if there was no his relatives, okay, at all, would he even think twice about killing them? No, because that time he has come as a Kshatriya and that's the only thing. So he could understand that his attachment was the problem. So miser, a person is why a person is described as a miser, because he has a huge amount of wealth. There are people like that. They have huge amounts of wealth. Neither they will use it for themselves, nor they will give it in charity. They just want to keep looking at the wealth increase. Oh, every month I have this much more and I will get this much more. And so what is the use of having that wealth? Right? So similarly, the greatest wealth is the human life. But if we miss the opportunity in the human life to find a solution to the human problems, main problems, then we are considered to be a miser. See, he is a miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human and who thus quits this world like the cats and dogs without understanding the signs of self-realization. This human form of life is a most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. So, so Arjuna is understanding that he's not able to make a solution, and then he's surrendering to Krishna. Now I am your disciple, Shishyasteham, and a soul surrendered unto you, and you please tell me what is best for me. So this is so after Arjuna says this, then he's also telling that he's explaining his position more, that whether I fight and win the war also, my grief will not go away. If I don't fight also, I'll be afflicted that I'm not able to do my duty. So in both in both the things, like I'm completely lost. But one thing for now, for sure, is I will not be able to fight. So Sanjay is saying this. Having spoken this, Arjuna is saying, Govinda, I shall not fight. That much is sure. I mean, now I'm not in a position to fight and I shall not fight. So then Krishna is smiling. Prahasan iva. Because Krishna and Arjuna are not in the same platform. See, if the kids are coming with a big tears and big problem to the mother will smile for reassuring. Okay, nothing much has happened, because the mother has a solution for the child. So similarly, Krishna, the Supreme Mother and Father, is smiling, uh, assuring Arjuna that his childlike problems will have a solution, that he's going to give a solution soon. Okay, so let's read from text 11 to 14. There are so many things more to say, but as we discussed, this is just a preliminary thing. Our main aim is to read all the verses, at least in English. Okay, Abba Mataji, did you already read? No, right?
No.
Okay.
Jai Shri Krishna Mataji and everyone. So text 11. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Text 12. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Text 13. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Text 14. A son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from the sense perception, O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Text 15 also, ma'am.
Yes, yes, Mata.
Text 15. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mata. So, he's saying, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, while speaking learned words, you're mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise, see the shloka is very nice. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Anyone wants to recite this? Abha Mataji, you can recite.
Yes. Shri Bhagavan Uvach. अशोचयन् व शोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञवादश्च भाषसे गतासून गतासूश्च नानुशोचन्ति पंडिता.
Thank you. Okay, so Bhagavan Uvacha saying, Asochan anvasochastvam. You are lamenting for something that is not worthy of lamentation. Prajna vadamscha bhashase. You have talked very learned talks. Because Arjuna, Krishna is at once taking the position of a guru and chastising. Okay. You're talking like Pandita, Prajna Vadam. Okay, but you're mourning for what? Your actions, your talks are like big Pandit, but your actions doesn't match that. Gata soon, agata soonscha. So when a person is living, the living force is there in the body. When the person is dead, the living force has gone away from the body. In both the cases, the person is living. He's either living in the body or he's gone out of the body. So with this understanding, a person who has this understanding will not lament for the living person or the dead person. So first of all, Krishna is saying here that body and the living force inside the body are two different things. And the body is dead anyway. When the living force inside the body lives. But when it goes away, when we go away, then the body is dead. In any case, the person is not dead. So Arjuna so far put that religious politics and sociology find this person as the enemy, I have to kill him and establish dharma. But religious principles of compassion, forgiveness, saintliness have to be given more importance than this politics and dharma. Like that is less, and that is right. But what Krishna is telling now is that the self-realization or dharma of knowing what is dead, what is living, and who is the controller of both should be given more importance than the religious principles. So, and what he says, the first thing, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you. nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So all of us were present in the past. Means before we became existent into this body. And in the future also, when we pass away from this body, we will continue to remain to exist. And he is telling, including him, I, nor you, nor all these kings. So that means all of them are individual, and Krishna is a supreme individual. Okay. So why is he saying that? There are so many individuals, and there is one person who's maintaining all the individuals, and that person is a supreme personality of Godhead. So he's confirming once again that there will be never a time, we all will pass away. And how do I believe this? If Arjuna asked a question like this, then Krishna is giving a proof in this life itself how this phenomenon happens. Anyone who has not done the shloka so far, do you want to read? Reena Mataji, do you want to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'm still learning to uh, do the shlokas and be comfortable.
Okay. Okay, if you're not comfortable, it's okay. Anybody else?
I can read Mataji.
Yes, Mata.
Bhagavad Gita 2.13. देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति.
Thank you, Vidya Mataji. So we have all been reading Vidya Mataji's. There are many devotees who have attended this course quite a few times, and we have read all the Bhagavad Gita. So it's a practice. So like this, those who are joining this first time also, when you practice reading, then it becomes, it becomes easy to do. Thank you for that. So as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So the child is born, right? And then the child grows into a boy, and then he becomes a youth, and then he becomes an old man. So what is carrying from the child to become a boy is that the mind is growing, right? First, the child, whatever he sees, you give the phone, you give the pen, what the child does, puts inside the mouth, because Annamaya. Everything is for me to eat. That's all. Then when he becomes a boy, then he knows that everything is not meant for eating. Toys are for playing. Ball is for playing. Then when he becomes a youth, then he understands that if I keep playing, then how will I grow big, and how will I make money? So you see, even in this body, the mind the subtle body carries from childhood to boyhood to youth. If the body is growing and the mind is not growing, then we see some incompatibility, right? We see um, child which has special needs or challenge situation that is grown big, but the mind is like 2 or 3 year old. So it's actually the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, and false ego. Krishna will address that carries, even in this life, a person from boyhood to youth to old age. Similarly, the subtle body carries the soul to another body at death. That's what he's saying. Just because the mind is changed, okay, the youth, a person, a boy in 20s, he doesn't have the mind of when he was 2 years old. But is he a different person? No. He's still the same person. What has changed is the external appearance, the gross body. So that's why Krishna is saying this. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira, or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. He can see that death is a change of body and I don't die. See, this is the greatest of knowledge that Krishna is giving in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Because if we don't know this, then everything what we do in life, what we plan for, what we think, what our activities will be wrong. Because the first step, if you're solving the equation, the first step is wrong, then the second step is based on the first step, third step is based on the second step, and everything will go wrong. But if only we have this right, that who are we, and then base everything on that, then he says such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies and is called most sober man. Actually, we call a person who's not drunk as a sober person. But all of us, we are drunk. Means we are thinking that whatever we are now is going to continue forever like this. That is like a drunken state. But Krishna is telling when we understand our real nature, that we are the individual soul, and then we are not the super soul. The super soul is a part and parcel of the supreme personality of Godhead. And then there are two natures, material and spiritual, is never deluded by the change of bodies. So then if Arjuna questions, I will not be able to see Drona and Bhishma as Drona and Bhishma, although they will continue to live. Okay, I will miss them. So what should I do about that? Right? So anyone wants to try to read? I see raised.
Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkada agamapayino nitya tamastiksasva bharata.
Very good, Mataji. Thank you. So he says, O son of Kunti, Kaunteya, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Sian of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Just like there is a tunnel, right? Tunnel is dark. But a person who's driving in the tunnel knows that even though the tunnel is dark, he knows he can drive confidently because we know that tunnel will end. There will be light at the end. And again there will be tunnel coming. And again there will be light at the end, right? But still we keep going. Whether it is light or whether it is tunnel, we keep going. We don't stop the car. So that's what is happening here. So he says happiness and distress. What is their nature? Non-permanent. Both are non-permanent. And then happiness and distress, both are gone. Is it permanent? No, that is also, their disappearance is also non-permanent. their appearance is also non-permanent. Okay, so are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. Can we stop winter from coming, or can we prolong summer forever? It's not possible. So what a person does, what we do in winter, we we wear coat, and we continue to work, we go. In summer, then there is AC and air conditioner and other things, so, but we continue to do our work. So because we know that we are absorbed in our work, and so winter and summer seasons, we equip ourselves to handle them and continue to go towards our goal. So similarly, Krishna is saying that tolerate them. That is the that is the weapon to. And how we can tolerate them? Because we have a goal. We are fixed on the goal, the spiritual goal, what to attain, what to do, the spiritual activities. So we tolerate this happiness and distress. So it's not easy, but Krishna is saying a very practical solution. I mean, looking at it theoretically, at least we can understand this, right? If we look back in our lives, there are instances when we were very, very happy about, but that also has passed. There are instances which made us very, very sad, and that also has passed. So we learn to tolerate them with the help of the spiritual knowledge. So that's what he says, that you cannot stop Bhishma and Drona from dying, right? They will anyway pass away. And what about they? You will also pass away. And I will also have to wind up my Leela here and go, because Krishna doesn't pass away like us. He has come in a spiritual body. We will see that in the 4th chapter. So he's explaining this. And so a person who's not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady. See, Bhagavad Gita is not illogical in telling, be just steady in happiness and distress. But how to be steady? Not that when we are happy, happiness comes, we should not be happy. That's not the point. When distress comes, it's not that we should not be sad. It is natural for us to be happy when happiness comes, for us to be sad when distress comes. But we don't hang on to that as ever, that this is what is life clinging on. We don't hang on to that. Why? Because a spiritual person has a goal to achieve. And so by doing spiritual activities, especially chanting of the holy names of the Lord and reading Bhagavad Gita and introspecting and trying to apply, we can see that eventually we will be not disturbed by happiness and distress. It won't happen overnight, but it is it's a education. Slowly, it's a theory first, then we will see that we can put it into practice also. Okay, 16 to 20. Srinath Prabhu. Are you able to unmute? Hare Krishna,
Next.
Chandra Mataji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, text 16. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible, No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul.
Yeah, continue 20, Mataji.
The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. Neither be who thinks, neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain.
Thank you, Mataji. So, yeah, so in text 16, what has the great Vedantist, okay, great Tattva-darshibihi, means the seers of the truth, what they have concluded? The material body is ever changing. Of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance because it's a poem, right? So it's poetic words. And of the eternal, there is no change. That means the material body is ever changing and the soul is something that never changes. Its soul is eternal. So how much ever we try to kill the soul cannot be killed. And how much ever the body is tried to be preserved. Who's that? Lenin was dead, and then for 75 years they put the body in the oil, and then they were preserving. Still, he won't come back to life, right? The body has to go, has no endurance. There's no, there is body has one guarantee that it will change. Soul has one guarantee that it will not change. So he's saying that these seers, they have concluded this, studying the nature of the both. Then text 17, he's telling how to know the presence of the soul. Okay, here if you see, there's no time to read everything, but yeah, we will read. This verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasures of the body in part or as a whole. This spreading of consciousness is limited within one's body. The pains and pleasures of one body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul, and the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. Okay, if someone is eating an ice cream, how he's getting pleasure by eating the ice cream, we can look at the ad and we cannot experience that pleasure until we eat the ice cream. Or someone has a broken bone, okay, frozen shoulder, or some pain, back pain. How much it is paining, only that person can. We can empathize, but we can't feel because we are not there. We are there, our consciousness, our awareness is there in our body, only limited to our body. So that awareness, that consciousness is the symptom of the soul's presence. The dead body is not aware, not conscious. It's dead matter. Because the soul's presence of the symptom of the soul is not there. The symptom is gone. That means the soul is also not there. And what is the size of the soul? This soul is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point in size. When the upper point of the hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts, each such part is a measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. Such tiny spirit soul is the same present in an ant, in a mosquito, in a fly, in a rhinoceros, in an elephant. It's the same. The dimension of the spirit soul is the same. So, yes. And one more example is given here is that this very small spiritual spark is a basic principle of the material body. And the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body as the influence of the active principle of some medicine spreads throughout the body. Okay. This current of the spirit soul is felt all over the body as consciousness, and that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body. And this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any means of material administration. Right? Otherwise, a dead person can be brought back to life if chemicals can bring life, right? There's so many medicines, the liver can be transplanted, the heart can be transplanted. Why can't all this be done? If, say, within 15 minutes, if we can do all this and bring back the person to life, we could have, right? But the consciousness, even a dead plant, the plant which is kept out in the winter, everyone will have expense. Frost is there, then the plant is gone. Try bringing that dead plant back to life by injecting chemicals. Because the soul is gone, the consciousness is gone, and that consciousness cannot be revived by any means of material administration. It's a very beautiful purport. Anyway, it's a homework for all of us to read the purports. So he says the material body is destructible and measurable. Okay, 5 feet, 10 inches, and how many ways. But the eternal living entity is indestructible and immeasurable and will not come to an end. So he's saying that he who thinks the living entity the slayer, okay, you are not killing them and then they are not dying because is not in knowledge, he says, because the self slays not nor is slain. And this is another verse. For the soul, there is, so then we may ask, when did the soul was born? The body is born and then we celebrate birthday. But is there a day when the soul became created or manifested from the Lord? He says that there is neither birth nor death at any time. You cannot trace out in the history when he has come. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Like here. Anything which has birth also has death. Okay. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc. of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so-called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. That's why old people will come and see their, grandsons and granddaughters play. They cannot play, but the spirit of, doing sports and games is there. So the same spirit is there as in the childhood or youth, because the soul doesn't become old. Okay, so let's continue 5 more verses and then we can stop. 21 to 25. Prodigal son. Hare Krishna. Srivatsa. Are you able to unmute? Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna. Nirmala Mataji, yeah.
Text 21. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? 22. As a person puts on a new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. 23. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. 24. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burnt nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. 25. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body.
Thank you, Mataji. So he's saying this is the answer. 21 is the answer. Krishna, Arjuna is asking how, you are the maintainer of everyone. I'm surprised that how you're allowing this war to go on. So he's saying that a person who knows the soul is like this, how can he kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? And one more very graphic example Krishna is giving here. Anyone who knows this verse, do you want to recite?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Go ahead.
I don't know the verse, but I can recite it nonetheless.
Yes.
I can try at least.
Yeah, that's how, we all are learning only. Yeah.
Okay. Vasansi jirnyani yatha vihaya navani ghrhnati naro parani tatha sharirani vihaya jirda anyani samyati navani dehi.
Very good. Yeah, so if you see, there is a Sanskrit pronunciation guide at the end of the book, and if you follow that, it will be the same as the English. Even we don't need to know this also. Those who don't know this also can read. A on top of a hyphen is A
Okay.
sound. Va, Sam, Si. Okay. Jir. It's not Jirnani. It's Jirnani. This is Na. The
Prana. Okay.
And then this is Na. Pranam. This is Pani Na.
Okay.
No, Pani is also, yeah. Yeah. And Navani Grihnati Naroparani. An apostrophe means there is a there, but the A is not pronounced for the meter, so it's Naroparani. Little 2 syllables, you have to do the O. Naroparani. Yes, on top of that apostrophe is this Sha, like in shirt. So it's not Sarirani, it's Sharirani.
It's a H.
Yeah, SH, like that. Okay. So what's the thing? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up old and useless ones. Just like, when the baby is born, then there's small shoes for the baby. When the baby becomes a toddler, then the small shoe that fit the baby 3 months, 6 months is no longer used. So that's thrown away and a bigger shoe is got, right? So similarly, is saying that uh, when the material bodies becomes old, like a garment becoming old, that doesn't mean that, oh, young people are also dying. There is a definite amount of time that we have to live in this body, and that's different for different people. So even if a person has to die young, that means that's the time that has come for him to change his dress. So that's what he's saying. He's an example that giving up old ones and new material bodies are accepted, similar to giving up old garments and new garments are accepted. And who is making the change possible? See, this is a very interesting thing. The change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in a previous verse. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the super soul. And they are explained as two birds sitting on the same tree. One bird is filled with anxieties, the other bird is looking at this eating bird. Okay, the looking bird is Paramatma, eating bird is ourselves, Jivatma. Okay, so I think we are over time. We will pause here. Again, he's saying the repetition of the qualities of the soul is so that we understand it very, very well. Because for us, we are inside this body and we are controlled by time. And we have seen body taking birth and death. So it is very difficult for us to understand what's the nature of the soul. So Krishna is repeatedly telling it again and again. Okay, we will pause till 25. So please go through the purports. Yeah, if you have any questions, we can discuss for the next 10 minutes now. Okay. Chander Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, very good, very like amazing what we read today.
Exactly, right?
I just want to know that, sorry, I forgot my question. Um, like when person dies, um, even though our consciousness is there, according to this, only it changes the body. But how come, like some people in the old age are still very young, and some are in young age, very old, and with so much misery, and like their intelligence is not that strong to take decisions in their life, and they suffer a lot. So how we discriminate, like in these two scenarios?
Yeah, this is the answer. Srivatsa Prabhu wrote about karma because it's like this. Suppose, I buy a dress like say a suit for 100 rupees or 200 rupees. and there is another suit made of silk for 20,000 rupees. And then this suit which I got for 100 rupees, when I put in water, it will vanish. The color will go. Okay, because that is a value. If I have only 100, 200 rupees, I can buy only for that. And if I have bought 100, 200 rupees suit, then it will go away. In the first wash, it will shrink. But a 20,000 rupees suit will remain more strong, more dazzling, how much ever wash you do, long lasting, right? So similarly, the subtle body and the gross body, we have got based on our karma. And because of that, there is a sine wave, or there is a difference in uh, the miseries of the physical. Some people have no, miseries from the physical body at all. Every time they go to wellness check, they come out. But for some, every time they go to wellness check, there is something new coming up. Okay, one after the other. So some have obviously like no much problems. They can not much happiness and distress. Life seems to go one way in one direction. But for the other, it's like every step they take, 2 steps they come back. So these are all like, it's based on the subtle body and the gross body, and based on our previous directions. We are all going in a route that is already we have chosen previously. So that's the difference. But no matter whether a person is having more happiness or less happiness, more physical health or less physical health, more misery or less misery, if he takes to the understanding of spiritual life, like what is life, what is birth, what is death from Bhagavad Gita, then what Krishna says that whatever karma you have got, forget it, I will delete it. And I will make you a peaceful and happy person, no matter what. If we understand and apply this.
And talking about the misery, like happiness and misery point came here. I'm sorry, I was just making my notes to ask you. Like when we do the spiritual practices, even in that, like I have seen people who are uh, like happiness, like here it's explained, I'm talking about this book reference, that there is it comes and goes like seasons, right?
Mm.
It will not stay. But when it comes, that time even the spiritual practices doesn't help, because the person's intelligence doesn't take the right decision.
Initially, when we are in practice, just like a doctor, a student who's studying doctor, say second year, can she do a surgery? No,
No.
because she's not at practice. She's studying it. But an experienced doctor, a surgeon, after finishing the course, gone for residency, she has learned from the very doctor, and she has performed herself, say a doctor, surgeons, then for her, surgery is not a problem, right? So similarly, we are all students of the spiritual life. So in the student life, we may be overwhelmed at some situation. If a second year student is asked to do a surgery, then she'll be taken back, right? So it may be overwhelming, but eventually when we practice and we are strong in our practices, every day we grow spiritually strong in our spiritual, if we practice every day, then we become strong enough to that the other happiness and distress will not cover that. That is why initially we need accountability. Just like the medical student cannot learn on their own. They need a guide. They need, there is a lab, the technician, and there is a person to closely monitor what mistake you're doing. This is what you have to do. Come for the lab. They need to pass exams. Only if they pass second semester, then they will be allowed to go to third semester. So like this, conditions are there. For a medical student to study and pass is very serious, right? Entrance into medical college is not enough. What somebody enters into medical college and want to relax and doesn't come to classes, doesn't see attends, are irregular, then his period of study will extend. He can't practice that much. So that is why when we start practicing like a medical student, we need to be diligent each and every day. No matter what, this is my spiritual studies. I am a spiritual medical student in a spiritual medical college. So I have to do my spiritual practice. That's why first things first. So when you read Bhagavad Gita and chant, start your day with that. Then whatever comes during the day will not affect your spiritual practice. But if the spiritual practice is kept in the evening or night, then it's difficult to do, because if the days goes well, then we will do. Or if there is so many problems, then we will not be able to do. So that's why.
Mataji, yeah, Mataji, I always believe in that we are always a student in our life. We are always learning something somewhere, or even as a teachers, we are still a student.
Of course.
Right? So in this case, even we are as a teacher, if teacher is perfect, how can the teacher will learn?
No, you see, even the doctors, they have to update now. They have to figure out if there is some case, what is the reason for this. Recently, my friend is a doctor for so many years. Then they found out that her aunties had some problem. The problem was the heart. No, then the problem was not to the heart, is through the lungs, the asthma. So then she said that, no, I was reading through the literatures, and then I was discussing with the other doctors. Then we came up that this is the solution. So like this way, everybody is learning. Okay, but it's an experienced doctor can solve the problems that a layman will be overwhelmed with very easily. For example, what is the reason for whether the fever is viral or bacterial, how long, then blood test and all those things. Now, for a doctor, it's easy, but for us, we are not equipped with knowledge to find that. So, what my point is, even though we become perfect, we are still learning, but we will be equipped with dealing with small things as they come we will take it small things small as we go.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, we will talk later. I'll text you more. And thank you for, attending it very sincerely and thinking about it and asking questions as well. It really means a lot. Thank you. Okay, Reena Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for this beautiful and extremely insightful session. And I'm sorry I couldn't even attempt the shlokas. I've been trying. I butcher it every time.
I'm
even
going to
when I
tell you
want.
one thing, that by the end of this session, you will be memorizing and reciting shlokas so well.
Oh, thank you, Mataji. I really hope so.
Everyone here. Yeah.
I really hope so, and that was my question, because I mean, there are so many beautiful and extremely deep concepts that we are studying. And I spent like 4 to 5 hours every day going through materials, and I found like some lectures, original lectures by Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada online. So I've been listening, and there's so many concepts. How do you keep it straight and clear? And suppose like my mother is also doing some lessons and she wants to discuss, how do you keep it straight and like basically streamlined when doing this kind of learning?
Right. So that's why, first what we did an overview of each chapter. We just kind of like caught few concepts and the concepts that are connecting as a thread from one chapter to another. Now we are just going through the translations, because then like this, you can make sure whether I'm cheating or not, because you are going through yourself the translations.
Mm,
What is Krishna telling about the soul and other things. So this is a second level.
okay.
Then there is another level, like third level, we will go in detail, line by line of the purport, and we will understand more like that.
Mm-hmm.
So initially we pick up the main concepts, then we go deeper.
Right. And also, I wanted to share because you touched this beautiful concept, and haven't had the opportunity to talk about this particular experience in our own family regarding the soul changing clothes, that kind of thing. So there was a family member, extended family member, like my age, who passed away under some tragic circumstances. And her mother was really in distress for many, many years. I'm sure she was praying as well. And about 10 years later or so, I don't remember the exact time frame. So the girl who died, her brother had a daughter on the same birth date as the person who died. And she resembles that girl, like I would say 95%. She's such close resemblance. So I just, it's something that I intuitively always thought that has happened, but now listening to all of the second chapter, it just seems it confirms all the phenomena.
Right. Yeah, very much. Thank you for sharing that, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna again, Mataji. I had a question regarding the purpose of your life. I know there was a verse where Arjuna goes into distress. Arjuna is basically in distress because, um, one of his qualms is one of the things I also think about is why do we need the ups and the downs and the highs and the lows to come to our purpose? Why do we need this journey to be so tumultuous? If we already have that spiritual blueprint, why can't we just be born with and just get to it? I'm not saying we have to be like a complete enlightened being or anything like that, but I'm saying why can't we get it kickstarted from the get-go instead of there being ups, downs, drama, as I say it? Is drama maybe is a not a good term, but is this necessary really for our spiritual upliftment?
Okay, actually, we don't make this drama. This drama, we are in the world of drama.
Ah,
So
so
that's why
this dominion, I know, forgive me because Maya and I'm bringing in a Christian concept. Satan, they say the world belongs to Satan, and we also say that world is Maya Jal, right? So does God not have uh, complete um, power to interfere according to spiritual laws in this realm?
of course he has, na. Of course he has. I guess this from your name, prodigal son, that you're going to talk something from Bible. So if God is not, Maya is an energy of Krishna. Okay. Maya is not evil. In our concept, Maya is like a jailer,
Yeah, yeah.
superintendent. Why?
Okay.
Jail superintendent is to make sure that unless and until that criminal is rehabilitated, he's not let
Hmm.
out. So here we are here for rehabilitation, to understand what is eternal, what is temporary, and to finish all our karmas so that we will have a spiritual body. Unless we are 100% ready for the spiritual body, the gates will not be open. From the first class jail to second class jail to third class jail
But
and
the
class
the
jail.
highest spiritual pedigree, like even if you look at history, they have been through the hardest lives
Yeah, but
before.
they are not affected by that. That's
Hmm.
what Krishna is telling, that you cannot stop this happiness and distress. But we can learn the art of not getting affected by that and be blissful. There is one thing called happiness and distress, but there is one thing called bliss, which is
Hmm.
unending. So the spirit Pandavas, even though they went through so much of misery, they were blissful inside because they were
Hmm.
always in connection with Krishna.
Hmm.
So this experience of bliss in the heart will make the happiness and distress uh, jujube or doesn't
Nothing.
matter. Yeah, that's what Krishna is teaching us. And this, even if we don't get it in this life, if we start trying to get this, we will continue this journey and get it sometime. And we will have to get it some life or the other.
Yeah. And
Saturn
one
is
more.
not a competitor to God. Okay.
Who?
Yeah.
Who,
Saturn is
Mataji?
not Saturn, you said, right?
Ah,
Satan.
yeah,
Satan.
yeah. Basically, Christianity before it's basically part of dharma only. I mean, it's pagan roots, everything, all these things, even darkness in the yogics, it's all for our spiritual upliftment. They give lessons only. But anyways, I just used it. Um, uh, Anger, can anger be used as a mode of worship? I'm not saying rage, anger. And how do you know? Like I love my father. I get angry with him. It's very nuanced. But is anger okay with God?
Actually, in the spiritual world, anger is also a spiritual rasa. But here, anger is a very difficult emotion to streamline.
Hmm.
Because once we are angry, we are a slave of anger. Then we don't know how to streamline. But Hanuman streamlined his anger against Ravana.
Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was there, no? I mean, he is very exalted, of course, but yes.
Yeah, so, but eventually, I mean, eventually we will be able to streamline.
Hmm.
Because I asked this question to my Guru Maharaj one time back, and he said this. See, when it's okay to get angry when someone is offending the Lord, or
Hmm.
if the Lord's interest is compromised. But it's not okay to get angry when I am, mm, I am, I am insulted. But we do the other way because although we know theoretically, we are still attached to ourselves in the center. We are the center of our lives still.
Hmm.
It's a very, it requires a lot of practice and understanding. But I mean, in the overall, what we can say is that um, anger is a last thing for even the sages to get rid of. Okay.
Hmm.
Pride, lust, wealth, for wealth, for money, for women, they can conquer. But anger is the last, even for great sages to go.
Oh,
Not to speak of, no novices like us, but we can slowly tread
but
this
I've
path.
also heard that anger, I mean, if you are angry at something, that means your conscience is robust, meaning there is something within you, a spiritual entity, which is making you frustrated, whether it is for growth, whether it is for, oh, I can't see this happening, or
Okay,
things like that.
that is
So
for
it's.
dharma and adharma, right? Whenever some
Hmm.
injustice is happening and something is right is happening, it's
Hmm.
right. But yeah, it has to be streamlined,
Yeah, yeah. I
right?
got you, Mataji.
Yeah, otherwise, we will be consumed by that feeling of anger and this thing and waste our time.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I got you. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Shubhratri.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, that's it. Any other question? Um, time for trivial things. Is it okay to get angry if someone tries repeatedly to take away our time for trivial things rather when it can be used for spiritual upliftment? Yeah, but if that anger will help to make that person understand that, I'm I should not be disturbed for my spiritual things when I'm doing that. If that uh, is achieved, then this anger is okay. But sometimes, that person who repeatedly tries to take away our time will not understand this and will go ahead and do this more and more. Try to irritate us if they know that, this is what we want to do and we are trying to stay grounded in that. So in that sense, then anger may not help, but explaining may help. That make that person sit down and say that this is what I'm doing. This is the time allocated for this. So let me do this. And then, we can do that. So many times with simple conversations, this can be solved, is my experience. Okay, thank you, devotees. I think we have done. Yeah, Kanika, Haji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranams for the beautiful discourse as always. I just wanted to share two small highlights. If I'm taking people's time, they can leave. I'm sorry, I don't mean to bore anybody. But one of them was that I remember asking Keshav Swami this question. He had this in a discourse in the Toronto temple when we were there. Gave this very elaborate answer about how somebody had asked a question that, when do you know it's the right time to speak? Then he gave this elaborate answer about how you should think that, is this the right time to speak? Am I the right person? Am I, communicating properly? So I asked a follow-up question that in the heat of the moment, you don't sit through an analysis, right? People are talking about anger and whatnot like that, that it just comes out of your mouth. So he said something very sweet to me, which stayed with me. I wrote that down in my notebook. He said that people always know your heart ultimately, regardless of your sound, pitch, words, forget all that. They know people are not stupid. They know your heart. So whatever you're communicating, if they know your heart is in the right place, nobody's going to really get offended or overact, or it's just that people underestimate you. There's all this science, right? That watch your tone, talk politely, but all that is just BS, because people are not that stupid. They can really see through you and feel your heart. So, it's like when you're telling them that, I want to pray, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. Like if they can really feel your heart, they'll give you that time to do your prayer. If they can't feel your heart, then that is when they come up with more challenging questions.
Wow, beautiful. And the second point you wanted to share?
Yeah, Mataji, sorry, I put myself on mute. Yeah, the second thing I wanted to share is that I remember I had when I had started initially doing my malas, I was very, very comfortable with just doing two, or very comfortable with just doing like 4 or 8 or whatever. But I feel the increase in malas, I can firsthand witness the instant effect of that it makes you very, very intuitive, that you can read a room even before walking into it. The answer is already there. So just anybody in my shoes who was just desperately struggling like me to increase their malas, I can just assure you that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, so nice. Thank you so much. Wonderful realizations and comments. It really helps. Okay. So sorry for going too much over time. So we will pause here today. And okay, that's one. Yes, Sadbir, yes. Yeah, I'll respond to you in your messages for this. Generally, um, Reading Bhagavad Gita and chanting can be done irrespective of whether the body is contaminated or not. Especially for women, there is no taboo for that these days you should not do. It's not like that. Reading and chanting can and should be done every single day. Maybe offering or doing puja or going physical services to the Lord is not recommended at this point of at the contaminating period, but chanting and reading Gita should be done every single day. Okay, so we will pause here, devotees. Thank you all very much for joining. So we will go through this purports and also try to memorize the verse, few verses 2.13 and 2.8 or 6. I will share it in the group and the audio as well, so we can try and memorize this week. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shri Radha Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So see you all soon. And there is a japa session that's going on in the morning, 6 to 7. You can join at any time and leave at any time. So this is just to, in a group, it is easy to chant or start this doing the mantra meditation. So those who have not yet tried this, please join. And I hope all of you are at least chanting 2 malas every day. That will help understand Gita much better. Thank you very much for your patience. Hare Krishna.